This podcast features adult content not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. You have been warned.
Previously on Back to the Story.
You know, you've interrupted my very important business. I should introduce myself. My name is Eliza Underwater, and I'm of the Will. As she's sprinting towards you quickly, she holds her hand to her sides, and the shadows of this place, of this catacomb and sewer, begin to coalesce in her hand as she raises an empty hand up as this blade made of shadows themselves come down and strike towards you. Eliza shifts into shadow before sprinting down the hallway, the same direction where you saw the prisoners and the other skeletons heading. Okay. So as you're after your discussion, beginning to head in, seeing the crystallizing ice forming on the ground and the walls of this undercroft, you begin to make your way in. Vesper, you're up first.
Okay. I'm trying to see where we are and what I can see. Just not much. I'm going to use my action to dash and get next to Ezekiel. My bonus action to move the spiritual weapon with me as much as I can. Which direction do we hear the crying from?
To the south. Right.
Left or right?
Yeah, to the south. Is echoing off the walls.
Okay. So I move 45, so I'm going to go 50, 45, 60. And that's my turn.
Okay. Shifting around. And as you do move closer, you and Ezekiel are close enough. You hear a sudden like the shattering of glass up ahead. You all feel a sudden shiver on your shoulders.
Actually, has it been a minute?
Since
I cast spiritual weapon.
Yeah, it's probably
okay. So it's gone.
Okay, you can recast it if you want to, or you can wait. As you hear this shattering of what sounds like glass, and there's a shudder across the back of your necks and on your shoulders as the temperature once again plummets, and that will bring us to Ellory.
Okay, so I'm also going to use my action to dash first to get here, and then I think I have 10 more feet. Oh, and I can see things, but I can't do anything, so that's it.
Okay. And as you kind of come around the side, you can see just the outlines of some skeletons up ahead, and that will bring us up to them, actually. And you see them kind of standing there, but they don't come closer. They just raise, putting both hands on their weapons and just shifting, ready to strike if you come through. And that will then bring us down to here, as you hear a sudden a crackling sound. You're unsure what it is. And then down to Amsen.
Lovely. So, bringing up the rear, 20, 25, 30, and I guess I'll use my action to get a few more feet and come up behind Vesper, and that's my turn.
That brings us up to Kalvyn.
I think we're just dashing right now, so I'll see what happens when I get to here. Oh, nothing. So, we'll just 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Cool. I don't know what to expect. That's it. I'm gonna,
Okay. And that will bring us up to Ezekiel.
Okay. So, no, don't do that. Go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And I can't really get through there.
If you dash, you could potentially shift through that difficult terrain. You can see Kalvyn, and I'm not sure if you can see them, but you can definitely see Kalvyn and Ellory are eyeing something on the other side of that hallway.
Yeah.
You can hear the clattering.
I'll go ahead and dash and get... Ooh, okay. So that's as far as I can get without incurring opportunity attacks, so I'll just lift up my shield.
As you shift there, you see, and lifting your shield up, you see those two had their weapons up and were prepared for anyone who would come through, striking down at you with your shield out there. First one's not great, a 12 and a 19.
19 will hit.
I want to give disadvantage on one since he's 5 feet from me.
17 hit?
Still hits, but thank you.
So Kalvyn tries to impose a shield, but it's hard to do all the way around the corner. He knocks the attack off balance, but it does still land, dealing 7 piercing damage as this rusty blade hits and jabs into your side. You dodge under the first attack as the left skeleton slams its blade against the stone, cracking it, with bits of dust falling down, and ice.
I will raise my staff and cast Shillelagh, causing it to bloom again, and I will just kind of stand there.
Okay.
Or actually, wait, they have to use their reactions to do those ready actions, so I'm going to push through at least till there.
Okay, so they eye you, bringing their swords around, preparing to attack at you when they get the chance. And that will bring us to Ball.
How can I go about moving through this?
So normal movement until you get to the narrow part, and then it's difficult terrain.
Okay, so that was... and has it been an hour since our first fight? Would I still have Longstrider?
You would still have it. It's getting close, but you still have it for a few minutes.
Okay. So 15 here, and then half move to get through the cracks?
Yeah, you're having to squeeze.
Okay,
so attackers would have advantage, and movement is slower, but you can squeeze through.
So 5, 10, 15, 20, and then I will use my action to continue through to here, and end my turn there.
Okay, so it's kind of squeezed up against the sides of the wall, bending as best you can. Your front and back of your armor is scraping along the stones, chipping away ice and the few bones that hang loose out of the holes where people are buried. And that brings us back around. Vesper, you're on deck to this one. And he's going to go. And that will bring us up to, as the glass shattered, you hear a sort of a pop, and you all feel a rush of wind from behind you flow through over your shoulders and hair and towards further into the catacombs, as if something suddenly was pulling the wind, and it's still slowly pulling this twin closer. And that brings us up to Vesper.
Okay. As a free action, I hate everything that's happening right now. I'm going to move 10 feet this way, and I'm going to Sacred Flame that skeleton so it needs to make a save.
That's a 12.
No. So that will be 8 radiant damage.
Okay, so the radiant sacred flames burn down upon the skeleton. Several of the bones of the sternum and ribs just burst. The sheer impact of this divine energy. It's shambling to its feet still, but it's looking hurt.
And then I'm gonna scoot. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I'm gonna scoot in here, and that's my turn.
Okay. That will bring us up to Ellory.
So, is Vesper completely blocking my view now?
Yeah. You can move through her.
I can move through her. I can. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that's... And I'm going to go ahead, I guess, and incur attack of opportunity as I move through here.
They haven't quite gotten a chance to react again as you shift through.
Okay. So that was 15. Is this also difficult terrain to move through here?
Yes, to go through Ezekiel.
Okay.
So 15, 20, 25, 30 feet to get where you currently are.
Is this the one that Vesper hit already?
Yeah, you can see several of the bones lie at its feet.
Okay, then I'm going to cast Shocking Grasp.
Okay.
That's not great. That's 13?
That'll just hit.
Okay. For 6 lightning damage.
And that is enough as the lightning sprouts out, bringing that one down. The lightning releases, slamming into the bones, pushing it up against the wall behind it as the bones clatter. The the undead energy failing to hold the bones together. And is that your turn, Ellory?
That's it.
Okay. So this other one here is going to reach out and try to... First of all, it's going to shift. And it's going to 5... No, it's not. It's too stupid to 5 foot. So it's just going to shift and then try to hit Vesper. So Ezekiel and Vesper could get attacks of opportunity against it, should they choose.
Natural 20.
Yeah.
So that is 13. Piercing?
Yeah. I'm not even sure if Ezekiel was planning to hit it, but as you... Oh, actually, 13. As you pierce, you do hit it, but because of the piercing, you just run through half of the creature, still hitting it pretty solidly.
And I rolled a 25.
Oh, yeah, you hit.
So that is 7 bludgeoning.
Yeah, and you notice as you slam into it, this creature is vulnerable to bludgeoning as you slam into it, and its bones scatter along the ground. That's their turn. That brings us to here, and down to Amsen.
Alrighty then, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I cannot see anything. This hallway is so tiny. 30. I'm going to use my action to get into the room. 5, 10, 15, pushing past Vesper. 20. I don't have a bonus action, so that's my turn.
Okay, and that will bring us down to Kalvyn, as the two skeletons are vanquished, and the rest of the scales are beginning to enter through that hallway towards the chanting and crying you hear nearby.
I think with difficult terrain, I don't think I get very much further than that. 5, 10, 15, 20,
Yes,
25,
that
30.
should be 30, yeah.
Alright, so is this a hallway? Is there is Zeke in front of a door, or I can't really... Is this all
no,
walls?
It's all walls around you. There are holes in the walls where it looks like bodies are entombed, but that's not a door behind you. You can hear the sounds to your left on this map, essentially.
Kalvyn rushes in. I don't see anything.
You don't. As you begin to crest around, you do see to your left around the wall the faint glow of a light, but the light is almost purple in color.
Okay. I'm going to hang out here.
And what's your passive perception?
10, maybe?
Okay. And that will bring us up to Ezekiel.
Okay. Ezekiel will move. I'll get the mover. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And there's a big thing in the center that looks like pillars. Yeah, we need to get someone to see. So I'll dash.
And Ezekiel, what's your passive perception?
17 or something. Let me check.
Yeah. I feel that's plenty high. Yours is pretty high. You see, and I'll draw it on the map so it's easier for you to see. Kalvyn, you haven't noticed it. But Ezekiel, you notice in this vicinity, the ground is sharp. There are almost like tiny stalactites, razor sharp ridges that rise from the ground. It's almost imperceptible, but you see the ground is dangerously sharp in that area.
Can I, if I move slowly, can I avoid it, or is it just kind of, I know I'm going to take some spikes if I go through there?
Yeah, it's you're not going to be able to avoid it. It's very sharp. I'll say if you go very slow, like 5 feet per round, you can avoid it. But other than that,
Here's my question. Would I have noticed that before when I was still here? Because I just used my... Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Then instead of dashing, I will use my action to do Radiant Soul and pop my wings, and I'll just give a shout. There's spikes on the ground. I don't know what you can do about them, but look out.
Okay. As you wings erupting from you, as you begin to on these eagle's wings flying.
And how tall is the ceiling now that I'm in this slightly larger area?
It's still about 10 feet tall here, 9 or 10. But you see about where this spike growth starts, the ceiling opens up and it goes maybe 40 feet high.
Okay, good. That's my turn.
Okay, and that will bring us up to Ball, who's still squeezing.
All right, I will move. That is 20. I guess I can't see in there. Is there even going to be space in there for me to stand?
Yeah, you can use everything you have to get into the room because you just barely don't have enough, but it's fine. So you can just barely squeeze their Ball, where it opens up slightly. You're still kind of hunched over at the 9-foot ceilings, but it sort of opens up. And as Ball moves through, it will bring us up to this guy. Just going to shift a bit and down to here. The wind rushing through you all begins to pick up pace. It almost seems to be pulling harder, stronger. The temperature grows even colder, and the lights coming from you all begin to grow dimmer. The shadows begin to become thicker, almost like fog or smoke. Seeing becomes more difficult. That will bring us up to Vesper as I adjust your light.
Assuming it's difficult terrain for me to move through.
You could get just to the left of Amsen with 25.
Oh, with 25? Okay, so then 30. And then I'm going to dash. God, my mouse today. I'm going to dash 5, 10, 25, 20, 25, 30, and get into this hallway. Squeeze past the boys.
And what's your passive? I imagine it's high enough.
It's 13.
Just enough, you notice. As Ezekiel's flying, he's looking down on the ground. You glance down, and you see that area is just full of sharp spikes and razor stone.
In front of Ezekiel?
You should be able to see the red line.
Oh, okay. Snazzy.
Or you may not too with your sight.
I can. Okay.
Okay, so you can just barely see that. Is that your turn?
That's my turn.
Okay, that will bring us up to Ellory. And just before Ellory, you hear screams. No, don't make me. Of a female voice, young, before you hear a sudden, like someone being shoved. And that will bring us up to Ellory.
Okay, so I'm going to, let's see, 15 will get me there. If I cast Spider Climb now, can I get past Kalvyn on the wall without it being difficult terrain?
Not past Kalvyn. Yeah, even on the wall, you'd still have to.
Okay.
What's your passive perception?
15.
Okay, yeah. Between Ezekiel warning and then looking at the ground, you do notice the sharp ground before you.
Okay. I'm just going to move up a little bit more and cast Spider Climb.
Okay. So shifting up, your feet beginning to stick to the ground like Ezekiel does in his form. Is that your turn?
Yes, that is.
Okay, that will bring us back around to Amsen.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Catching up with everybody. 5, 10, 15, 20. Can't get through people with the rest of my movements, so I guess what I will do is I will, from behind, place a hand onto Ezekiel and cast invisibility on him. And that'll be my turn.
All right, and that will bring us up to Kalvyn.
So am I aware of what was pointed out about these damn spikes?
Yeah, between Ezekiel saying it and the others kind of looking down at it, you look down and you can just begin to make it out. You couldn't see it before. The shadows are almost running between the sharp spikes and razor stone like water. You can just barely see it.
Okay. Where are the sounds coming from? Left or up?
Left.
Hits. I got nothing. I'm going to explore to see if there's another way around. I don't have anything else.
You see, coming around, you see a dead end.
Oh.
You see there's a few more holes with dead bodies are entombed.
Cool. I'm going to just come back, and I'll stop right there instead. And that's, and then I post up for a high five, and that's my turn.
Okay, that brings us up to Ezekiel as the scales are beginning to mass at the edge of the spike roof. And the rest of you, Ezekiel has disappeared from your sight.
Sorry, trying to get my thingies all settled. Okay, so I'm going to flap up 5, 10, 15. What can I see here? Ooh, okay. That's a whole bunch. 15. Let's move a little bit more. I still can just barely make out some robes. So,
if you can just barely make out some robes, do you see both of them?
Yes.
Okay, so you see both of these robes similar to before, but this time you can see green glowing eyes in the shadows of these hoods. One of them, or the one on the right, is holding like a silvery ice energy in his hand, and he's just focusing towards the entrance into this room.
All right, I'm going to blow your spell, Amsen. Sorry, but I'm going to use my action to cast Flaming Sphere in between the two of them.
It's okay. I just feel the comfort in knowing that suddenly a flaming sphere appears and they have no idea what's going on.
And then a flying angel man bursts into appearance. But yeah, so Flaming Sphere, any creature that ends its turn within 5 feet of the sphere must make a dex save. And as a bonus action, which I'm going to do now, I'm going to ram it into the one that is conjuring that ice energy. So he has to make a dex save.
Okay. So you're going to him. 17.
That will make it so he takes half, I believe. Yes, so that's 9, so 4 fire damage.
As suddenly the flying angel man appears, wings strewn forth, releasing this flaming sphere, conjuring forth, slamming into this one, withholding the ice energy. And that was 4 damage?
Yes.
And he maintains concentration on the spell. He still holds it in his hands, but just barely.
And that's my turn. I do want to be, 15 feet up if I could. I can float back a space if that's necessary, movement-wise.
Maybe one space, but yeah, you can do that. That'll bring us up to Ball.
Alright, I am going to turn the corner. So this is 20 feet of movement to get to here. Do I have enough space here that I can jump yet?
The ceiling is still pretty low.
Okay.
I'll say you can make an athletics check to try to do it.
We'll say 20, and then it's difficult terrain to get through these guys, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. I think with my action, I should be able to get to here. Well, with my action, for sure, I can get to here. And do I know what the red circle is?
What's your passive perception?
It is a 10.
10. I'll say with the small bonus from Ezekiel mentioning it and the others looking down at it, you can see it. You can see the spikes all in this area. Razor stone beneath.
Okay. I can't see anything through it. I think I will use the rest of my action to get just to the other side of Kalvyn and just kind of clear the way, so to speak. So that'll be the end of my move and my action.
Okay. And that will bring us back up to this gentleman who just took the flames. And he is going to get away from that. He's going to get right there. And let's see if he can. So he is going to release this ice energy that floats up, just dissipating into the air. A moment later, these snowballs, hardened like hail, begin to fall onto Kalvyn, Vesper, and Ball. The 3 of you need to make dexterity saving throws.
9.
1 for Ball.
11.
Okay, so all 3 of you take 10 cold damage as the hail just patters and slams upon you.
And I need to make a wisdom save, right?
Correct, thank you.
Ooh, is 13.
Okay. You feel a sudden surge of anger against them, but you're able to stave it down. And that will bring us up to this. You hear again, like I'm going in there, hushed, under his breath, you hear a man speaking, I won't. And then you hear a snap. And then you hear the footsteps moving away, barely audible under the clattering and crackling of these undead small army. And that brings us up to Vesper.
So how close together are the spikes?
They're, right on top of each other. It is a fingerprint of sharp spikes and razor wire. And I will say, Ezekiel, since you're now in the room, you could see a man who was speaking as Eliza pointed to him and snapped her fingers, and he began walking towards the other edge of the room. The left side of the room is almost totally enveloped in shadow, and you can't really see, but you can feel that's the coldest area. As he walks, and you can hear the clattering of the steps on the stone and ice before you hear him no more.
So the walls, are they is there mortar in the walls? Is it like brick? Or is it?
It's more solid stone that's been carved out.
Okay. Well,
there are holes of catacombs where bodies are entombed a long ways.
Can I try and parkour?
Can try to parkour.
Okay.
Let's.
I need to move through Kalvyn, which is 10. So I don't know how close I can get. 15. I can just get across if I can make it.
Ending there?
Ending here.
Okay. Give me an athletics check.
Or acrobatics?
You can do acrobatics. Because you're having to move through Kalvyn and you don't have a good running start, you have to run the athletics or acrobatics at disadvantage.
No, it was a natural 20. That was almost as good. That's That's a 27.
Yeah, so you're able to shift through Kalvyn, running up the side of the road, using your hands to almost semi-climb against the embedded stones, landing in that square. The razor stone and the spikes, as you land, tear through your feet. You take 7 piercing damage as you land.
It's not looking good. And wisdom save, even though it was the terrain.
Yeah.
It's a natural 13, so 19.
Okay, yeah, you're fine. You land in pain, eyes opening.
And I'm going to Sacred Flame the skeleton right here, so he needs to make a dex save.
Okay. Not great. That's like a 12.
Okay, that's like a 12 isn't going to do it. Awesome, not awesome. So just 8 radiant.
All right, so you land in, gritting your teeth through the pain of landing in this razor wire or razor stone floor, releasing the sacred flames of the bright light, briefly illuminating the room. You can see it's about 40-foot tall ceilings. You can see there are numerous pillars across, leading up this long way towards the back of the room. The back, you see a bridge going up about 30 feet off the ground. Underneath it, you see 2 figures. And beyond it is just shadow. You can't even see the back of the room. And that will bring us up to Ellory.
Okay, so I am going to step up onto the wall and move around this corner. Oh, I can't. Let's see. So there's a light that I can see illuminating these 2 robes. Can I tell what that's coming from?
There's a large ball of flaming sphere.
Oh, right. Okay. So just to add to that, I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and cast Fireball right where that flaming sphere is.
Okay.
So they have to make, if they're within 20 feet, they have to make a dexterity saving throw.
If you put it here, you can hit everything. You might hit Ezekiel 2 here, but you can hit everything. As he's 15, about 5 feet up.
So I will use my last sorcery point to have him automatically succeed on the save.
Okay. So I will begin rolling. So the first one, dex save, a dirty 20.
Okay. So that's half.
An 18.
That'll succeed.
And then for the skeletons. A 6 for those 3, so they fail. And then for the other 3, 9.
Nope.
So the 2 robed individuals quickly dive to the side, spinning, using their robes to try to saunter some of the flames. The skeletons just almost try to duck, but there's nothing to duck behind as the flames roar and explode.
So that's 24 for the ones that didn't save and 12 for the ones that did.
There's an explosion of flames. And what does this look like? I think it's the first time you use this.
So I think what happens is I hold up my mirror, and this little ember sort of floats gently out from it, drifts forward, and when it hits the spot that I want it to, it just blossoms into an explosion.
And that ember kind of floats down, gently hitting them as the flames roar out. The 2 cultists spin, sheltering themselves briefly from the flames. They still are heavily scarred. Some of the cloth is beginning to burn. These skeletons are wiped out like the scene from Terminator. It's just a wave of flames, and all of the bones are turned to ash. There's a few chunks the size of small pebbles that kind of hit the ground clattering, but all of the skeletons are gone.
Zeke will kind of cough, but he maintains his concentration. I rolled a dirty 20.
Okay. And Ellory, is that it for you?
That is it for me.
The skeleton's clear. That will bring us down to her.
Oh, I have 5 more feet that I can move, so I'm going to go along the wall a little further.
Okay. That was not nice to do. You killed all the people. So let's see what... she's going to do 15 feet up. You should be able to hit both of this one. You see a tall individual, but hunched over. You see even hunched over, she's probably a little over 6 feet. But this individual is hunched way over. And she brings up an arcane energy as she releases it forward, and a blast of ice shatters between Ellory and Ezekiel flying in the air. Both of you make dexterity saving throws.
10.
11.
So both of you fail. Both of you take 9 points of cold damage. And then
I'm going to
Constitution.
use my reaction to do absorb elements. Cold damage probably isn't going to do shit against them, but that'll have that for me.
Okay, so down to 4. And concentration checks. I believe both of you are concentrating on the spells.
What do I roll for a concentration check? I haven't done this before. Okay. Oh, that's 24.
I failed.
Okay. So the ice, bits of shards of ice slam into your shoulders and sides of your neck and face. Ellory, you grit your teeth and remain concentrating on the spell, your feet glued to the side of the wall. Ezekiel, your concentration fades on...
Flaming Spear.
Flaming Spear. For some reason I was thinking flight, and you would fall on the spikes, but I guess that's bad too. So the Flaming Sphere, in between both of these individuals, is snuffed out. The shadows taking it once more. Satisfied with that, that will bring us on to Amsen.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. That isn't great. I can just barely see this cloaked figure over here. Way down the hall towards the left, past that pillar-looking thing.
Amsen, do you still have the lantern out?
Yeah, I still have the lantern out.
Okay, that's it. The lantern's not putting out as much light as it was before. The shadows seem to be fighting the light actively, but you should still be able to see there.
Since I can technically still see, out from down the hall, Amsen yells out some vicious, mocking words towards the green, the one stamped as green. That's a 2. Lovely. So I'm going to say, I heard your parents took you to a dog show and you won. As that creature takes 5 points of psychic damage and they get disadvantage on their next attack roll.
Okay. You see this individual had ice energy flowing off of one of their hands. They're focusing on Ezekiel flying and Ellory walking on the sides of the walls. He suddenly snarls, "What?" Turning towards you, and is suddenly distracted. And her hand wavers, and the spikes almost solidify back into the smooth-ish stone of the regular ground.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to take the last 5, 10, 20 movement that I have and walk over there.
Okay. Walking in, and that will bring us up to Kalvyn, as the ground is no longer a spike or razor stone.
Oh, awesome. Then I'm going to charge ahead. I can't see anything. I mean that I can't see anybody. Like, I can't see any action.
So the noise you can hear is in this direction, and you can hear noise further, deeper into the shadows.
Cool. I'm here. I'm going to out right here. This is a good spot.
Okay, did you dash to get there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that'll bring us up to Ezekiel flying above the now smooth ground.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to see what I see there first. Still can't see anything over there. So I'm going to dip down, get to there, and I'm going to bonus action, turn into a brown bear. I still have one of those, and I am going to take a bite and a claw at him.
Okay, so flying, massive bear. This is giant claw balls.
So the bite is a 15, and the claw is a 24.
Yeah, both hit.
All right, so that is 12 piercing damage on the bite, and I rolled very well on both of these attacks. 15 slashing damage on the claw.
Yeah, so the bite, you almost lift this female now off the ground as the hood falls back, revealing this elderly woman with white, wispy hair, curly, falling back. She looks like she's in her 80s as you lift her up, and as she's falling back down, releasing from the bite, the claw comes around, half clawing her guts open and half slamming her back against the nearby pillar before she slumps down, blood beginning to spill out. She's done.
And I can get a little bit more movement. Oh, no, I'm flying, so I only there, because that's my fly speed. So I'm kind of just like 5 feet off the ground now, but that's my turn.
And is that a large bear?
Yes, it is. So you got that right.
Okay, so there's just a large bear just above the ground. Ball, that brings us to you in the back.
Okay, still unable to see much here. I will take a couple steps down, and with my action, okay. So I'll just move normally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna have to use my action to move here as well. So 7, 8. I'll just get there and end my turn.
Sprinting through the grounds, still alight with flames, though in this dark room, the shadows are pushing against the light of your flames, smothering them somewhat. Bringing us back up to this guy who you surround. He looks around you. You can see just now from the light of Ball's flaming form, you can see the lower jaw strong, jutting out to tusk, revealing grayish-green skin as he snarls, raises both of his hands up, suddenly thrusts them forwards towards the ceiling, as sudden black, shadowy tendrils rise up from the ground, as if waves themselves reaching up and trying to slap and grab at all of you. Kalvyn, Ball, and Ezekiel make strength saving throws.
That's a 21 for Ball.
I got a dirty 20.
14.
Okay, so all of you pass, taking it down to 6 points of necrotic damage to each of you, as these tendrils reach up into the air, smacking at all of you. When they slam in, you feel this cold energy that almost warps and rots the flesh where it touches. And that will bring us up to Eliza. So as these black tendrils reach up, grabbing the 3, Ball, Kalvyn, and Ezekiel, you can hear footsteps shifting, calmly, slowly. Well, dear, it's your turn. Go join your sister. And you hear the whimpering of one of the prisoners walking away. You hear pat, pat, pat. And you hear nothing else. And you hear the pat of her slowly walking away. Well, you tried. That's something. Zavin, make your way over here, will you? We have business to conduct. As you hear the pat, 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 as Eliza's voice fades away and something.
What direction is this patting? Or is your voice? Okay.
To the left. And that will bring us up to Vesper.
South left or just due left? I'm about to dash and I don't want to waste it.
I'll ping it in this general direction.
Okay. I can get there with my movement. Then go 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. There's nothing over here?
So, moving in that direction, you go where you heard the voices last, where you heard the footsteps last. And on this side of the room, the shadows are thick as fog or smoke. In the same way it would be hard to breathe, it becomes hard to see. And as you get closer, you can just see a darker spot of shadow. It's colder and darker than anywhere else in the room, and it's directly left of you.
Can I touch it?
It's too far away. It's still 15, 20 feet. And you don't really see it like a solid place. You just see the shadows continuously get darker as you head in one direction.
All right.
But you do see at your feet, you see flakes of a few glowing embers, as well as the flakes of a few glowing greenish pieces of crystal or salt at your feet. Small.
All right. It's my turn.
Okay. Ellory.
Okay, so I am first going to move down towards this pillar here so that I can see. Is that the last remaining robed figure?
Yes. The last one alive.
And I'm going to go ahead and... let's just go with Firebolt for this one. Okay. That's a 15 to hit.
That'll hit.
Okay. And where is... Oh, there it is. 18 fire damage.
Okay. And as everyone else is left, at least from your sight, this last remaining one surrounding, trying to conjure up shadowy tendrils, how do you want to do this?
So, I'm going to say, fuck you and fuck your will. and I'd like just the robes to catch on fire and to spread upwards.
Okay. And as you say that, he begins to turn towards you. And as the firebolt slams into him, hitting him center mass chest, his body falling back towards Kalvyn, running into the Kalvyn's shield, easily catching the weight. As his head falls back, you see the hood revealing the burnt lower jaw and neck of a half-orc, as the flames begin to catch onto the cloth, slowly burning and melting away the ice and catching fire to this individual. A few moments go by. There are no more skeletons, no more hooded figures.
Nope, a few moments don't go by. Ezekiel charges towards the thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
So we will ignore the map for the time being. So as this one falls, you immediately turn towards the darkness, rushing, I assume, all of you towards this black shadow. And as you come to it, you get to a point where you can no longer see. It's like opening your eyes into pitch black. There's no longer a difference between opening your eyes and keeping them closed. You can't see, and you can feel the cold bearing down on you. Ezekiel, who gets there first, you feel this shadow almost pulling towards you. Do you resist?
No, I charge in.
Ezekiel, as you shift and step through, you step out from beneath a veil almost of your sight, and it's still dark, but you can sort of make out your surroundings. You can see nothing but an empty, rocky, desolate landscape of pitch black darkness. You can see almost ash or soot or dust is kind of whipped up in this still, gentle wind, just gently pushing it along the ground. You look behind you and you see there's an obelisk that raises maybe 30 feet into the air, black, marbled. You can see the obelisk as if from no sun or moon that you can see sheds a shadow. And that is what you seemingly stepped out from, stepping out of this shadow into this place. Looking around, you can see to your right high, jagged cliffs like teeth of some forgotten beast. And to the left, you see nothing but this desolate rock landscape with slow growing something between plants, grasslands, as if made of shadow, that kind of slowly trail up from the ground. Behind you, as you turn, you see, not too far away, maybe 100 feet or so, you begin to see water, endless, as far as you can see, like an ocean, vast. But there are no waves or current. It's just still, unmoving, stagnant, ink-black water. And you look further into the fields, and you can hear movement, moving away from you. Squinting your eyes, you can see jagged structures, ruins of dark stone, as you see figures moving in the direction of those ruins. And it's dark as you all come through seeing this, and you realize what's lighting up this area above you. Directly above, it seems, those jagged cliffs of some sharp, deceased creature. You see a scar along the sky itself, as if heavens were cut into. You see a white scar, as if of light, some millennia away, shining just faintly down. It's cold. What do you do?
What are we waiting for?
Nudge Kalvyn to try and get on me, and I'm going to bear charge because I'm a little bit faster.
Yeah, sure, I guess. Whatever.
I'm going to continue running as well. Like, between my long strides and my jumping, it's almost like, picture some, like, Diablo 2 barbarian leaping back and forth.
Okay. And I think you two are the ones that are out ahead. Ezekiel, Kalvyn jumping on the back of the bear, stampeding, barreling through these shadowy grasslands in the direction of the movement towards the ruins. Ball, you're not too far behind, leaping again, almost like the Hulk, moving in the movies, just leaping huge gaps at a time as the rest of you sprint behind. And you begin to catch up. You know Eliza by her dress flowing and burnt. As you begin to catch up on her, and though she's quick, the prisoners she has with her are slow as you begin to catch up to her in this darkness.
As soon as she's within 60 feet, I want a Sacred Flamer,
Okay.
which is a dex save.
For you, it's going to take you a little. Ezekiel and Paul are going to get to her first.
Yeah.
So it'll be like run around behind as you're conjuring up this flame.
I have a range of 240 for Chaos Bolt, so I'd like to cast that on her.
Okay, so Chaos Bolt, Sacred Flame, Ezekiel, Kalvyn, Ball, Amsen, are you doing anything?
Nothing really unless I'm in melee range.
Yeah, I can't do anything great until I get within 30 feet, so...
I'm just trying to get Kalvyn closer.
Okay, so Ezekiel and Kalvyn, you'll hit first. At the same time that we'll say Ball is a second behind, and the Chaos Bolt, because of its significant range, y'all three hit first. The next round, Vesper and Amsen, y'all will be able to follow forth.
Okay.
So you see as you come up, the prisoners are running, and they're looking behind and seeing you, and she's kind of frustrated, having to slow down to keep up with them. And she begins weighing her options, looking around. Y'all are maybe 200 feet still from the ruins as you three kind of get in.
16 to hit for me.
That'll hit.
Okay. For 7 points of fire damage, and if there's another target, it jumps.
You can target a prisoner, but otherwise it's just her.
Okay. Yeah, so just 7 points of fire damage.
Okay, so the flames burn through this land. The light kind of radiating off of the flames isn't nearly as bright, but it still slams into her, burning into her dress. She's now deciding, you can tell, whether she's going to stay with these and fight or leave. Kalvyn, Ezekiel, Ball.
Can I have cast Bless if I had a free opportunity?
Yeah, you would probably have a chance as your
Okay, I'm going to cast it on me, the three of us, me, Ball, and Zeke.
Okay. So blessed by... Actually, I'm going to need you, as you begin to cast this spell, I need you to make a concentration check.
It's a 7.
Okay. So you begin to try to channel this magic from Valisol, the follower solar of light and the sun and virtue and glory. And you begin to try to push through and channel this energy, but you are far from it. That energy, that divine power doesn't reside here. And the blessing spell fails. But otherwise, Ezekiel is stampeding towards her, and you're able to get to her.
I guess I'll attack, but I might, my spear's volatile too, so maybe it's not there either.
It's there. The metal's still in your hand. It's not nearly as warm as it normally is. It's almost cold. Are you striking with your spear, Kalvyn?
Yeah, if I get an opportunity to, or if I'm there too.
You've gotten up to it. The blessing failed, but as you're stampeding up on Ezekiel, you get within range.
That's a 22 and a 10.
The first one hits.
I'm going to dump a second level smite into it.
Okay. Make another concentration check.
I don't want to. It's a natural 19 plus 22,
yeah.
21.
This time you channel the energy and the light flows through your holy symbol, glowing briefly, the light energy traveling through the spear, slamming into her. So you get smite, and also she's undead, so you got some high damage here.
Oh, wow. I can do math. Hold on. 15, 17, 25, 29. I don't know what I add for because she's undead.
An extra D8.
Oh, cool. Okay. It's just one, so 30.
Okay. You strike forth into her. She's healed up completely at this point. Her dress is still scarred and burnt. But as you strike forth, the light glowing briefly, you stab into her stomach, pulling back as the light radiates from her gullet as the black blood begins to flow once more. She's okay, but she can't take too many hits like that. Ezekiel, you're there with Kalvyn.
Would I be able to use my bonus action to smash her with my shield?
You sure can.
Cool. I would love to try that again.
And Kalvyn, roll an extra d6 for damage as well. I meant to do this. As the force of Ezekiel's charge. Just a little bonus damage.
3.
And athletics for you.
That's a 28.
Oh, yeah. You smack her in the face and she goes down. She's on her back.
She's on the ground. I'm going to try and maul her.
Go for it. She's on the ground. You see the prisoners are beginning to step back. Their hands are still bound. You can see clanking metal around their feet as you, Ezekiel, tear into her.
All right. So first one is a 15.
That will just hit.
Okay. So that is only 5 piercing damage for the bite, and the slash, or the claw, is shit. No, less than 15, so no.
Okay. So the first bite tears into her, and you notice without the divine energy, the bite, she's not wearing armor, but it almost feels as if there's a layer of protection of leather.
Well, wait, question. Has it been a minute since the start of this whole encounter? Because if my wings are still up, there's an extra 5 radiant in there.
I think the wings are still up. Yeah, not for too much longer, but they're up.
All right, then there's an extra 5 radiant in there.
Okay, mauling her on the ground. You roll both of those at advantage, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that brings us to Ball. She's on her back, being mauled and attacked by Kalvyn and Ezekiel.
All right, I'm going to bonus action cast Searing Smite. I assume I need to do a check of some sort.
You would need to, yes.
I would need to. Okay, and then it's a Constitution.
Yeah, exactly. Concentration check.
Okay, so it's a 15.
Yeah, you're able to channel that energy from AIing into this dark place.
All right, and then I'm going to swing with my steel greatsword, doing Phoenix Blade. Or sorry, I will do that with Booming Blade in case she tries to run. That's technically a spell. Do I also need to roll for that too?
Do it again, yeah.
Okay. 8.
That is not able to push through.
So then advantage with the greatsword for 23.
Oh yeah.
So that is 5 slashing plus, I don't even know what Searing Smite does. Additional 1d6 fire. So 5 fire damage. And at the start of its turn, it has to make a Constitution saving throw, so I'll remind you. And then I also want to try to do Smite into her at level 2.
Okay.
And that's
make another Constitution check.
18.
Yeah, you can push it there.
Okay, so 16 radiant.
She's starting to look pretty rough. In just a few moments, you begin to release the hurt on her, and she does not like that radiant energy. And she's surprised. You can see it on her face that energy is able to make its way down here. And as she's recovering, that'll bring us up to Vesper, Ellory, Amsen.
Are we on her?
You are where you are on the map. You can see her, hear her to the left.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try and Sacred Flame. Do I need to make a...
Yeah, you do.
Okay, that's really good. That's a 17.
Okay. Yeah, that gets her. Yeah.
She needs to make a dexterity save, but she's prone.
So rolled 18 twice, so that is a 24.
Alright, well.
She is
cool.
You're able to conjure forth the energy. You notice it's harder than usual, but from that scar, divine energy radiates down, but she's too quick and kind of rolls to the side. It slams into the shadowy ground, burning some of those plants.
And then I'm going to try and Healing Word myself as my bonus, because
Okay.
I look horrible.
Ellory and
Amsen.
Amsen.
Con check, or...
Yeah.
Sorry, 15?
Yeah.
I'm going to move up so that I can actually see her around everybody else. And then she's on the ground right now?
Yeah,
she's
she is
prone?
currently on. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I have to roll at disadvantage for, let's go with Firebolt.
Okay.
Ooh. Would have been a natural 20, but instead it's a 21.
Yeah, that is.
And that is not rolling very well on the damage, just 4 points of fire.
Okay. She tries to roll out of it, but isn't quick enough and still burns into her. She's starting to get beat down. You can see the burns on her face, revealing these wounds that are not healing. Amsen.
Okay. I'm going to run up behind Ellory, and being able to see her, I'm going to do something that I've wanted to do since like the start of the session. And I'm going to cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter on her.
A wisdom save.
That is a wisdom save.
And that is a 12-11.
So she fails, as I say, This one's for you, Roger. I wrote a song about a tortilla. Well, actually, it's more of a rap. And she begins... She's already on the ground, so she's on the ground now, and is laughing her ass off.
As she begins laughing, it seems I misjudged you for something else. And she kind of remains chuckling to herself on the ground. She kind of somewhat sits up on her bottom, but she's still on the ground, doubling over, still kind of laughing. The prisoners now are beginning to back up. And you can all hear in the distance, towards the ruins, sounds. You can hear a loud doom, 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 doom of a gong that kind of goes off, doom, vibrating through this dark place. You have a few seconds.
Is it her turn?
She's just laughing. She continues to laugh. I misjudged you. It doesn't matter much anymore, though. The wheel will get you.
Can she do a con save for the Searing Flame? Or, because I hit her with Searing Smite, so on the start of her turn, it's a Constitution save where she keeps burning.
She keeps burning.
So it's 2d6 fire.
She begins to try to pat out the flames. Listen, I misjudged you. She kind of puts her hands up. She doesn't stand up. Why don't we just go our separate ways? And you get out of here before the wheel catches up to you.
I'd
We're
bite her
taking
in
the
her
prisoners.
face.
You what her in her face?
I'd bite her in her face.
At advantage, yeah.
19.
Yeah, that hits. She just kind of has
and
her
I
hands
will
up.
do the con check to see if I can get a smite off. 20, dirty.
Yeah. You channel the divine energy from beyond.
Alright, so that's 6 piercing and 18 radiant because of my wings.
The wheel will get to you. How do you want this?
Just bite her in her throat and rip it out as she's speaking and laughing.
The last word you can barely hear is the bear's skull envelops hers, and you feel as the divine energy glows, ripping her head from her shoulders, pulling the head off. You can feel it crush and hear it as the skull is crushed in the massive teeth of the bear. The body slowly lowers its hands before slumping to the ground and falling over. Eliza lies dead. The prisoners are bound, confused, looking around. 2 of them looking worriedly over their shoulders towards the sound of the gongs, as you all see a light, gleaming gold in the distance from the ruins. It's maybe 200 feet away, slowly moving in your direction.
We have to get out of here.
I'm going to run over to the prisoners, and with my my dagger, I'm going to cut their bonds.
Okay. Cutting through. The feet are metal, and you can't cut through those, but you get it through the leather straps of their hands.
I'll bend down, and you can toss at least 1 or 2 on me.
Okay, I'll help them up, and who looks like they might be the fastest. I'll keep them on the...
There's 2 girls that look like they're maybe 17, 18. They look identical. They look like twins. Mm-hmm. There's one man, he looks like he's in maybe 26, 27.
Okay, I'll put the girls on Ezekiel's back.
Okay, so the girls are on the bear. You can see the gleaming light is getting closer.
And then we
gonna...
book it?
Yeah, run.
Okay, so you'll stampeding away.
Before we do, I'm going to throw the female that we just killed on my shoulders and run with her.
Okay, so grabbing the body. You throw it on her shoulders and begin to sprint back, running. All of you are taking off, and you can hear behind you, you hear its metal upon stone, and it begins to as it begins to rapidly speed. You start to make distance from the ruin, moving towards the obelisk, or at least where you remember it to be, because you can't see very far in this place. But you begin to move in that direction. Before too long, the gleaming light has gone from 200 feet away to 100, and you can begin to see the obelisk. Everyone go ahead and make athletics checks as you're being chased.
16.
19.
17.
I rolled well, but
19.
I rolled well, but I'm going to use luck anyways. Okay, 15.
21.
Okay. The light, and you can see if you kind of just quickly look over your shoulders, you can see the light is coming from, as he's gotten closer, you're still keeping your ground, but so he's slowly catching up, not nearly as quickly as he was before. There is a humanoid of average height, maybe up 6 feet, maybe 6'1" or 2, wearing plate mail, golden, but not like any plate mail you've ever seen before. This is what every other plate mail aspires to be and fails to do so. Each, instead of having leather or chainmail in between the chinks, there are just smaller plates that interlock in between each of them. There are designs and runes on the shoulders and on the chest, and is gleaming this energy as the man runs quicker than he should be able to. Still, he's slowly catching up to you. As you begin to make your way towards the obelisk, you see this shedding his shadow towards the ruins. The man's now maybe 50, 60 feet away. You can see now that he's closer, he has pale white skin, red burning coals in his eyes, and black hair pulled back into a tail as he runs.
I'm gonna I don't know which one I want to use. I think I'm gonna try and Sacred Flame him as he gets closer.
Make a concentration check.
14?
The spell gets through.
Okay, so he needs to make a dexterity save.
That's a 24 or 25.
Yeah, alright. For the shot.
So almost without blinking, he kind of just shifts to the side, jumping a solid 10, 15 feet to his right as he lands on the ground running before the light even slams down. He is moving very quickly in your direction as you're hitting to the obelisk. You can see behind him shadows moving, others moving, running in your direction.
I'd like to do something just before we jump back into the normal plane, assuming we get there.
Yeah, so you guys are arriving to the obelisk. Essentially, in this round, Vesper, instead of sprinting through it, has cast this spell ineffectually. So you all had the chance to choose to do something or just run through.
Okay, then basically at the interface between the shadow realm and the material realm, within range of the obelisk, I'm just going to have like my sword ready to swing to basically strike at the obelisk after everyone's gone through to kind of like try to jump through this little plane and hit the obelisk down at the same time.
Okay, so you just stand to the side, baseball stance, ready with your sword to swing. Who's next?
I'm just going through.
Okay, so the bear, the twins on his back, runs through the shadow. It's almost like a sundial type shadow. This darker shadow upon this gray, dark landscape runs through the shadow, appearing in the undercross once more, skidding to a stop on the stone. Ellory, did you say you're going through?
Yeah.
You go through. Amsen.
As I go through, I'm going to inspire Ball. I still have one last inspiration left. And I'm going to say a poem for Ball. And it goes, what can I say of dear old Ball, the mightiest of men you see? You can see him running down the hall to help out those in need. A heart of gold that's always bold in the face of danger true. He's always sold to his enemies' hold to stop harm to me and you. And I jump back through.
Was that extra rhyme at the end part of it? And I jump back through?
Sure.
Through the shadow. Kalvyn.
Kalvyn will stop on the other side of the portal, on the inside, I guess, and waiting for everybody, like kind of facing off, waiting for everybody else to come through. And then, so that will be the last one through the portal. Okay. Facing off, holding an attack for if that thing gets close enough.
Okay, and Vesper.
I push the prisoner through, and seeing that Ball and Kalvyn are ready to follow, go after him.
Okay. Back into the catacombs. As you see now, just Ball and Kalvyn ready by the obelisk, by the shadow cascading down. You see the man slowing down to a walk almost. He's carrying no weapon, but he strides forth in gleaming golden plate. He's maybe 30 feet away. You see and a wisp of some slow wind stirring up the dust of this place. His glowing eyes gleam. Both of you can sense Eliza wasn't dead, but not like this. She was a shadow of this individual. What do you do?
I'll look to Kalvyn and I'll say, go. As I, pull my blade back, aiming it at the obelisk.
As he's striking, I'll start moving back into it, but I'm not going to leave him behind.
Okay, so you're kind of striking and then both going through at the same time. Ball, go ahead and make an attack roll against this.
All right. I will do... Can I do one of, my Phoenix Blade thing? I'm going to do the Phoenix Blade one anyway.
Sure.
Constitution, that's a natural 20.
Yeah.
And then I will attack, and I will use my inspiration, which is a 1d8. Is that right?
Yes, that is a D8.
Okay, so that's a 14.
Okay. You hit it. It's unmoving onyx.
So for damage, that would be 10 slashing and 1 fire.
So you slam.
And then, assuming something happens, I'm ready to just jump back into...
Okay. So you slam into it, and you feel this shudder move off your arms, and you just hit something solid. This black marble. You see a few pieces chip, not nearly as many as you thought, as the flames kind of roar against it, but instantly die in the cold shadow as you and Kalvyn both shift back to the other side, kind of tumbling onto the ground. You see the rest of the scales and the few prisoners.
Keep running.
The portal's closed.
As you jump through, you look back and you see this black, solidified shadow almost. It's just holding there. You see it flicker for a moment, but it hangs in the air for a few seconds.
No sense that
Can
it's
I
closed
attack
then.
that?
As you begin to step forward, it cuts and closes. The room's still dark, but not nearly as dark as it was before. The temperature is still cold, but it is no longer plummeting, freezing.
Does anybody have some light?
My amulet should be glowing still.
I'm gonna start unlocking the feet of the prisoners.
I'll lean down and kind of hold my necklace so she can see.
I'll
Ellory,
drop form and create a light spell.
Okay.
I'll also
And,
try unlocking those as well, helping Ellory out.
Your visions are normal again. You can see through this now mundane darkness. Dropping form, creating light. You're now able to see the entirety of this room. Between Ellory and Amsen, you can quickly take a few minutes to do these locks. They don't prove too difficult. Just difficult enough for these prisoners to be unable to do it. It just takes a few minutes to get through them, the three of them.
Can I cast Divine Sense?
Yeah, you can. You push it out, and you sense undead on the body, coming from the body, but not the body itself, on Eliza.
I'm going to begin to loot the body.
Okay. So looking through, you see she's wearing that dress that's been burnt. You see on her ear she wears emerald earrings. Make an investigation check, actually. At advantage, I assume someone's going to help Ball.
Yeah,
I was going to ask if I would be able to identify what the item that was, or whatever is radiating the undeadness if it's on her body.
Yeah, so I'll say, Kalvyn, since you're sensing that, Kalvyn, you kind of go over and you're all kind of helping pick through. Kalvyn, sensing that, you go straight through it, a bag on her side. Pulling out, you see a skull. Human in size, runes burned into the side and on the forehead. The same symbol, a similar symbol on the forehead as you saw on the other skeletons. But this one is slightly different. The ends are curved almost. You see various other glyphs and runes on the skull. And inside you see crystals. Similar to that tiny grain of rice-sized shard of fire salts, but it's purple. And instead of being warm and shedding light, it is cold and sheds shadow. With a 16, you also find she has emerald earrings in her ears. She has in the bag, wrapped in a tinfoil type substance, about 10 pounds of the fire salts. You can see several pieces of it have been chipped away. You see a smaller package of these purple salts, and you find the skull, and on her side, you see a handle of a blade, just the handle. It's black, cold to the touch. And with a 16, actually, the head is actually still was in Ezekiel's mouth. It falls to the ground, crushed. With a 16, you see a glimmer from that. Ezekiel, you may have noticed it. The glimmer, as you look over, it appears to be a tongue ring, still partially embedded in what's left of her chewed-up tongue.
What do we do with the skull?
While they're deciding, I'm going to kind of look this corpse in the eye and say, there's no redemption for the likes of you. And I'd like to use Ignite to set it ablaze.
It's just what I was thinking.
Yeah, it begins to burn, though it doesn't fade to ash, at least not immediately.
We should take it back to the temple. Maybe a higher ranking cleric can do something with it. Purify it. There are spells to prevent undeath and rising from the grave. I don't have any right now. My magic is pretty exhausted.
If we can get it to hallowed ground, that should be enough, usually. Presume the temples are. The prisoners, do they look alright? Are they injured?
Looking over, there's a few cuts and bruises on them, but nothing major. They look okay, just shaky.
We're going to get you out of here. Back home.
Thank you. The man nods, and the two girls don't say anything, but they do kind of come up, and one of them gives you a hug, the second one following shortly after.
Can I look around the area, see if there's any sign of, like, a ritual or anything?
Yeah, give me a perception or investigation check. Or Arcana.
Perception is a 19.
Okay. So looking around, there's a lot of burnt bones and other remnants of the battle, but you do see an area kind of where she was standing, close to where you entered it. There's a section of almost like, looks like burnt substance of some sort. Still very cold to the touch. It sort of resembles the salts, but they no longer, the shadow salts, but they no longer glow with shadow, and it's no longer as cold. Looking around further, you don't see too much more. There's the bridge overhead. Looking around, there is a ramp nearby going up. You do see there's an altar of some sort, a skeleton placed upon it. You see a inscribing tool, and about half of the skeleton has runes marked on it, but the other half is yet.
Yeah, I'll take a bone of the skeleton that has some of the runes on it, maybe the skull, but I'm going to shatter the rest.
Okay, yeah, so you destroy the rest of it, keeping one of the bones with the glyphs on it to keep as evidence or to look at later. But the rest of it is pretty stark. Nothing much else there. This is definitely not where people are living permanently.
Can I look at the skull and see if I can just figure out what purpose it serves?
Yeah, how are you looking at it?
I guess from a religious background. See if I know if it's the runes are.
Yeah,
Can I actually do so from a magical standpoint?
Yeah, Arcana and Religion.
I'll huddle with Amsen then and we'll look it over.
For the record, as soon as she's like, I'm going to look at the skull, Kalvyn's like, alright, hands clean. That's yours now.
I'm going to use luck, just in case.
I didn't do very well.
I got 21 for Arcana.
Great, because I got a 13 on Religion.
With the 13, you see, because of the symbol similarity on the other skeletons, the symbol of the upside-down tower, it looks similar, but beyond that, it's definitely not the same symbol, but it's similar. Beyond that, you don't know anything. There's other glyphs on there that you don't recognize. Amsen, looking at it, though whatever language or symbol rune system it's using you're not familiar with, it does have the markings of a arcane focus. It seems to be capable of channeling magic through the skull itself.
Then
as Kalvyn backs away from it.
Then I will state that to the rest of the party. I'm not super familiar with magic, but from what I understand, kind of like how I use my instruments on my singing, this skull might be used to channel magic.
I just kind of grip my mirror and say, don't need it, don't want it.
I'm sure it's valuable to somebody.
And I can tell this is real human bone, or humanoid bone.
Yeah, it sure looks like it.
I offer it to Amsen.
I'm just holding this human skull, looking at it.
If you guys look uncomfortable with it, Ball will stick his hand out and say, maybe it's better if AI looks at this. And reaches his hand out to take it from you.
Well, Ball, if you would like to hold on to it, I'm not going to decline that offer. Creepy piece of work that thing is.
So now Ball has the evil skull thing and the black hilt, and is ready to go full big bad evil guy on you guys.
I do want to take it's so gross, but I want to take the tongue ring because I want the diamond if we need to resurrect somebody later.
Okay. You can take one of your medic field knives or one of the other mini knives you have on you and kind of cut away the remnants of the tongue and just have the ring or the tongue ring itself.
Okay.
Then we can sell those earrings too.
Yeah, no signs of arcane etchings on the earrings.
Looking over, you don't see any. They look just fairly finely made, but yeah, nothing, no glyphs.
Tomorrow morning I should be able to detect if there's any magic present in any of this. But not tonight.
That'll be helpful. I can check my skills.
We should
Anyway.
probably be getting back to the temple to return these fire salts and get these people back up over ground.
Sooner we're above ground, the better.
I was just about to suggest the same thing, actually.
Okay. So you begin to backtrack, make your way back out, heading back towards the garden, going on the short journey. And as that happens, Amsen, you notice something. As you're walking, Amsen, you hear a voice in your head.
Amsen, I'm travelling to Novikov, which I think is similar to where you're going. Maybe I'll bump into you on the way. Love, Meli.
You make your way up out of the sewers and the catacombs back into the winter shade garden, the cemetery, where you see the two guardsmen still out front, just kind of sitting on a stone bench, kind of waiting for you as you exit. Prisoners coming as well. And as you do walk up, go ahead and ask, since it's 11:30, do you guys want to go ahead and call it here as you're exiting the cemetery? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go ahead and call it here as you just make your way out, as the guards look up from their just sitting around waiting. And that's what we'll call it. We'll pick it up next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Back to the Story. For notifications when an episode goes live, you can find us on Stitcher, Google Play, Player FM, or TuneIn. Download the app and subscribe or favorite us there. If you'd like to contact us, you can tweet us at back2_the_story. If you can't fit it into 280 characters, you can email us at thebonfirefables@gmail.com. And if you'd like further information about the campaign, the player characters, NPCs, or behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, follow us on either Twitter or on our Tumblr website. Lastly, if you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.